I've been a severe asthmatic for about 20 plus years.
I had a pinched nerve that impacted about half of my face and went numb and when I had my face in a certain position.
My son Colt was born with kidney failure.
In December of 2012, I was diagnosed with colon cancer.
I was having migraines 6 days out of the week.
I was having headaches every single day, migraines fairly often.
I was constantly tired. I was diagnosed as being subfertile.
Overweight, depressed, anxiety, tons of anxiousness, stressed out.
I was overweight. I battled allergies for years, which would eventually turn into bronchitis and walking pneumonia.
I was getting really dizzy all the time, and what that ended up being triggered to was I was having seizures.
My son was very sick. He was severely constipated. He had been that way since birth.
Then I not only was having my seizures, I was just spiraling down into depression. Not only that, but I couldn't sleep.
Spent many years playing golf. I was a collegiate golfer in South Carolina and got to a place at the age of 25 where I had a lot of back pain.
I was run over by a car when I was in high school and I just couldn't get my back corrected.
I was on 12 prescriptions, and those prescriptions were for everything from massive allergies to food and air allergens to antidepressants.
I fell in a freak accident and I separated 3 ribs from my spinal cord. I went to multiple doctors, I went to multiple physical therapists, I had x-rays, and every single medical professional told me, you're just gonna have to tough it up.
And it got to the point that I was couponing to pay for all the NyQuil I was drinking. So on top of all the drugs and everything that was in my system, I was literally addicted to NyQuil to sleep, and things were just getting really, really bad.
We finally saw a specialist after 3 years. The specialist did x-rays. His whole small intestine was full of feces. They then put him on 2 different kinds of medication and said that it would probably be that way for the rest of his life.
He got to the point where he was throwing up constantly. We had a backpack with a feeding pump and had tubes connected to him to get food in him because he was throwing up so violently and so bad so often.
As a mom, that didn't sit well with me, so I wasn't happy, but we continued to see the specialist.
I just didn't feel good. I generally was just a big mess.
I would wake up in the morning with a random fever one day, a migraine the next day, and then the following day a depressive episode that would literally have me on the floor in the corner of my office at work, sobbing my eyes out.
My life before Maximized Living was pretty bad, health-wise.
Basically, our life before coming here was a nightmare.
I'd been out to lunch with a friend of mine who was a Maximized Living patient. And he was telling me about all the benefits that he and his family were receiving from Maximized Living. Of course, at that time, I was eating whatever I wanted, so I figured that he was being fleeced, kind of like getting the undercoating on the carriage of a car.
I really was very skeptical, but we were like desperate because we didn't have a life. We couldn't go anywhere. We couldn't sleep at night because we were worried about him throwing up and gagging.
I'm a pediatric occupational therapist, and I was not educated on these kinds of concepts. It took me a long while to be a believer. Everything I'd heard about chiropractic care made me think that it was not believable and honestly kind of a bunch of quacks.
After I was diagnosed, I started doing my own research and started coming across a lot of things that sounded very similar to whatever my friend had been telling me. So I figured I had nothing to lose, and so I showed up. They were talking about the exact same things that I had been reading about and more in depth, and also with the added benefit of the chiropractic care beyond simply the nutrition and exercise aspects that I had found. Through the course of talking with Dr. Matt and learning more about that, I realized the benefits to doing that rather than to try to treat the cancer with chemotherapy was the obvious way to go.
The very first adjustment that I received, I screamed like a schoolgirl at a Justin Bieber concert. My head burst out into sweat. I felt like someone had poured hot lava down my spine, but it didn't hurt. I couldn't believe it.
After the second adjustment, that was it. He started taking a bottle, no more tube feeding. We started being able to teach him how to spoon feed. He began rolling over.
My life has changed tremendously. I'm eating healthy, I'm exercising, I'm off my meds.
I'm off all of my medications, including my antidepressants. I'm happier and healthier than I've ever been.
After Maximize Living, I've got no more pain in my neck. I can move it freely. I don't have a pinched nerve anymore, and I've lost about 35 pounds.
I've lost over 60 pounds since being under care with Maximize Living. I'm off all allergy medications. I used to have IBS issues, and those have completely gone away.
I have been coming for 2 years, and I have a lot more energy. My migraines are gone, and I'm now considered fertile, so it's been great.
I'm free from that pain. I have a healthy body.
2 weeks after being under care, he started using the bathroom. He is happier. He goes on a regular basis. He is much more of a 5-year-old child than that goes out and plays and enjoys life versus the 2- and 3-year-old that he was when he was just miserable and wouldn't do anything. He wouldn't want to play. He didn't want to go anywhere because he knew he would have to be in the bathroom. But now you can see he's just happy. He's enjoying life. He's getting ready to go to kindergarten, and we're on the right track.
Maximize Living has changed my perspective, and we've changed the entire way we eat. I have energy to make it through every day, and I'm ready to wake up the next day and do it again.
My anxiety level is decreasing, 0 headaches, and life is good. And, you know, the journey's not over, and I'm so excited about what is to come.
So it's now been about 8 months later, and I'm doing fine, doing well in fact. I've lost about 40 pounds during the process. Not only do I feel better now, but I know that I'm doing better now.
Since I've been attending Maximize Living, my life has been amazing, simply amazing. I've reduced medications, I'm more active than I've ever been, I've lost weight, and I really feel like I have a life, I have a future.
It opened up a whole new life. We were able to just be a family again. I'm so grateful that we took that step and just thrilled with the results, and just couldn't be happier.
Say, Maximize Living worked for me.
Maximize Living worked for me.